What do you believe about yourself? What you believe about yourself is eventually how you'll be perceived by everyone else. See, you can't project an image that you don't believe is true. So I'm here to help you understand who you are, why you think the way you think, why you act the way you act, and why you react the way you react. You see, the self-image we have, or the belief system that we have about ourselves, is how we are portrayed in this world, how people will see us. And so as we believe things about ourselves, if we believe we're worthless, we believe we have no value, then we're going to project that, and people are going to start believing that and start treating us that way. And so therefore we will be worthless. We won't have any value in this world. However, if you know you have worth, if you know you have self-worth, you have a place in this world, and you have a reason to be here. You know your reason. I believe everyone has a reason to be here. They have a purpose. And if you know that purpose, you know why you are the way you are, then you're going to know your self-worth. And having self-worth, you're going to project a more confident image. And when you project a more confident image, then people are going to start respecting you more and valuing you more. So it's all up to you. It's up to you to decide how you want people to see you. So how you see yourself is how other people are going to see you. Now see, once we understand who we are, some people take it to the extreme. They go into arrogance. And when you're arrogant, they believe believe more in yourself, or you think more of yourself than you really ought to. Then you start being arrogant, and people will start shunning, will start not wanting to be around you, because nobody wants to be around someone that believes too highly in themselves. So there's a balance to come to that. There's a balance that we should have in that. So through this course, through this time, this Discover You, I want to help you understand what is your motivation. Why have you always thought the way you have? Why do you react the way you do? What drives you, and that sort of thing. See, what energizes you motivates you. What energizes you motivates you. And so once we understand what energizes us, then we can understand the motivation that we have. Then we can pursue our purpose. Once you understand how you operate and how you think, and how you're programmed from your DNA, then you can find your purpose. See, I believe that from inception, our motivations are inborn into us. They're stamped into our DNA. They come from our genetics. So we'll have something from our parents and from our ancestors. But we all have individual gifts, individual abilities. One of the things that we have to understand is everyone is different. Now see, we'll talk about this in a minute, but there are seven different gifts that are present in each one of us. They're all there, but some are more dominant than the others. Now see, you can have the same set of gifts, which we all have the same 7, but you can have the same dominant ones, but they're going to be manifested, they're going to be shown differently because of your personality, because of who you are. So we have to understand that what we want to do is we want to learn our motivation, we want to learn why we think the way we think, and then the dominant gifts that we have, how they work together to find our place. See, we're going to talk about this, and we're going to discuss it, and we're going to compare it to each gift to a part of the body. So it's like everyone has their place in society, everyone has their place in the corporate world, everyone has their place in a family, that sort of thing. So we want to discover that. And so as we talk about each and every gift, we're going to put a part of the body associated with that describes where it plays. Now again, as with our human bodies, there are no unimportant parts. Every part is important. Every part functioning properly, it will make the body healthy. And so every one of these gifts are to be used, thought of as important. Now see, some of them are going to be more out front. They're going to be leading gifts. They're going to be gifts that are out front and more noticeable. People will see the gift more easily. Some of them are actually to operate in the background, but they're not less important than those that are out front. Every one of them is just same importance. But we have to understand that we're going to use them uniquely. Again, look at your fingerprint. When you look at your fingerprint, you've got to realize that no one in history, in recorded history, has ever had that exact same fingerprint. And more than that, nobody that will ever be born will ever have that exact same fingerprint. See, we are all unique. We are all individuals. Yet we can all work together in one cohesive unit to come together and accomplish something. We can accomplish something in this world. We can accomplish something in our society. We can bring peace to this world. We can bring ingenuity, innovation. We can bring things to this world. If we understand who we are and why we think the way we think, we can all find our place, find our purpose, and work together in what we're doing. So once we are confident with who we are, once you are confident with who you are, that confidence is then mirrored by everyone else. Everybody will see you as confident. So the most powerful weapon you can have in your personal success arsenal is to know who you are, and to identify your purpose. Once you identify your purpose, you realize who you are, you understand yourself, self-awareness, we're aware of who we are, then we can go from there and we can be more powerful, we can be more effective than we ever thought about being in our life. See, finding identity helps us find our place in society. We're all built differently. We need to embrace the differences. We actually need to celebrate differences, because if there were two just alike, one of them would be unnecessary. So we are all individuals. We all need to embrace that. We're all part of the collective body called the human race. Once we find and embrace where we fit, we will be most fulfilled and satisfied. If we're trying to do something that we're not built to do, then we're not going to be satisfied. You know, if you've been in a job that you just don't really enjoy because it doesn't bring you fulfillment, I'm here to tell you, once you understand who you are, once you are self-aware of where you are, so the assessment that you've taken before you started this, the assessment that you've taken is a point in time. It's where you are right now. Now see, the 7 gifts are present, but they're dynamic, they're fluid, they can move around. Now granted, the top 3 or 2 or 3 won't ever move down to the bottom, and vice versa, the bottom won't move up to the top. However, they'll kind of start switching places, and it depends on what you've done in your life, the environment you've been raised in, that sort of stuff. If people, if you were embraced as a person, that sort of thing. See, growing up myself, I felt odd in my family. I felt weird in my family because I thought differently than the rest of my family. Now, don't get me wrong. I was in a great family. I still am in a great, loving family. We all love each other. We love being around each other. There's nothing we wouldn't do for each other. So, that wasn't the issue. The issue was the way that my father and my father and mother, and I've got 2 younger siblings, the way they thought was different than the way I did. The way I saw things was different. And so they were always clashing. My sister has a few more of the traits like me, but still we're not exactly alike. And so I never understood that. I always felt out of place. I felt because the rest of them were similar that I didn't fit, sort of like an alien dropped in the middle of a family. But once I understood this, in 1993, I took this assessment and took this course. It was at the church I was going to at the time. I began to understand who I was, understand why I think, and understand that I was actually operating in some of the drawbacks or the things that are not good about my giftings, so I could learn, okay, now that's what I need to change. I need to alter that. I need to guard against that. And also, once I studied this, which I hope you will continue the whole series, and not just the ones that you're strongest in, but go through them all. It won't take that long. You'll understand other people. You'll understand how other people think, so that you can work harmoniously with people. You can say, oh, I understand the way they think. And also you can take your gifting and you can present it in a way that won't be as abrasive or misunderstood as it used to be, because you're operating more of the drawbacks of the gifting you have. So you can emphasize the pros and de-emphasize the cons. So just stay with it. Watch all 7 of the gift teachings. I really honestly believe that this is going to be life-changing for you. It was for me. It changed me, and it made my life better, and it helped me understand who I was, and I actually could, my family, I could explain, they took it too, and they could understand why I think the way I think. So here are the 7 gifts. They are: number 1, perceiving; number 2 is serving; number 3 is teaching; number 4, encouraging; number 5, giving; number 6, leading; and number 7 is mercy. Now, we don't have to be pigeonholed into one gift. In other words, if you say, this is my gift and this is the only way I can think, that's not the way it is. Again, my top 3 were, back in 1993, were perceiving, leading, and teaching. That was my top 3 in 1993. However, when I took it again just a few months ago, teaching actually moved up to number 1, and then perceiving and leading. You know why? Because I had just finished pastoring a church for 3 years and teaching and preaching on the weekends. And so I'd exercised that, and I found that thing to be the most exciting, fulfilling thing to do. So it was in my 3 dominant ones, but it was just there lying dormant. It was something that was part of me, and I didn't understand it. But once I've started exercising that thing and begin to operate in that motivational gifting, again, just because you've got teaching as a motivational gift doesn't mean you're going to be a teacher. It's just that's what motivates you, teaching, which we'll get into we'll do a deep dive into each one. But what I'm saying is they're dynamic, they're fluid. They will move around depending on where you are in your life and what you've had, your experiences, your level of maturity, and that sort of stuff. I say everyone ought to take this. Probably preteens could take it, maybe, but once they get into the teenage years and that sort of stuff, they will know a little bit more about themselves. But I say, if you take it in your teen years, then once you get into your mid-20s, take it again, and you'll see where you are again. It never hurts to take this assessment over and over again because of the fact that you're evaluating where you are again. Again, answer the questions honestly. Don't answer them with an objective in mind. Answer them honestly, because some things may have changed and that sort of thing. So we all have the dominant ones, and they can move up and down. Our number 7, the last one, will not ever be number 1. It won't ever happen because it's not our dominant gift. And so we have to understand that. But we work on developing all 7 while we focus on the dominant gifts. Now we must understand our giftedness more than our gift. What I mean is we understand our set of gifts, not focusing on that one gift and all the attributes of that one gift and say that's who I am and that's what I've got to do and that's all I'm going to focus on. But we look at the whole gift set, the cluster of gifts. We looked at the gift set as a whole, our giftedness, and then we look at our dominant ones and we start operating out of those, understanding that our lower ones we will have to exercise more. If mercy is way down there, you're going to have to operate in mercy, giving, that sort of stuff. Those lower ones, you still have to actually work on those, but they'll never take the place. But you understand it as a whole, not as just each individual. So you don't look at number 1 and say, okay, that's me. That's all it is, just me. So you understand the giftedness, not just a specific gift. We're going to work on developing them. We must know our gifts in order to have direction in our pursuit. So now the 7 gifts actually are broken down into 2 separate categories. So 2 separate categories, the speaking category and the doing category. And this is how they're broken down. In the speaking category are perceiving, teaching, encouraging, and leading. So in the speaking category, perceiving, teaching, encouraging, and leading. So then in the doing category are serving, giving, and mercy. So they're broken down into 2 categories. We will define those. We'll show those in each one. We'll talk about that so we'll all know. We'll also compare each gift to the body. And I talked about that earlier. We'll compare each gift to a part of the body so that we'll understand kind of what the positioning is in the body, and so we can know our place. Now, before we move on, I want you to understand this is something that I believe will change your life if you let it. If you take it seriously and you watch all the videos, you get the notes, you do what you can to learn about it, and then start thinking about it yourself. Again, we're going to make in each category, in each gift, we're going to make generalizations because I can't describe everyone because every gift is expressed differently according to your personality. But we'll make generalizations and we'll say them, and as a rule, you'll resonate with a lot of them. Some of them may not apply, some may, but depending on how your gift set is structured is how each one will be operating, how you'll be manifesting that gift, how that'll come out. And so depending on how mine's teaching, perceiving, leading, because of those 3, my teaching gift is going to be different than somebody else's teaching motivation. It's going to operate differently. My perceiving gift, because I have the teaching and the leading, is going to operate differently. So we're going to make generalizations. We're going to talk about them. We're going to make statements, and hopefully you can resonate with most of them. Hopefully it's going to be an aha moment for you. You're going to say, oh, that's exactly why I do that. It never fails. Every time I've taught this, every time I present this to a group, someone always says, that is so me, and I never knew why. I never knew why I did that. That's so me. And so it's just self-revealing. It's just something that lightens the load off of you because you can't figure out why. And also, some of the things that have happened was people, as I'm doing a teaching that's not about one of their gifts, they'll say, oh, that's why so-and-so is like that. One lady I had in one of my classes, she said, that is so my brother. That's why he's that way. I never understood why he was that way. Because, see, we all perceive people, we perceive everyone else the way we look at ourselves. But we have to understand, they think differently than we do. They act differently than we do. We have to understand everybody's made up differently. So once we understand all of the different gifts, then we can then understand people, and we can work together with them and not expect things out of them that they won't be able to do. Because once we do that, once we start working with people and we understand them, then we can work together more harmoniously. We can work together in unity. We can come together and we can accomplish more in the task that we're given at work. We can accomplish more in our relationships. We can be more aware of who we are and who everyone else is, so that we can then spend time getting to know each other more deeply. And this works in the corporate environment. This is so strategic in the corporate environment, and I'll bring out some of the points in each one of the deals. If you are a corporate executive, if you're a leader in a corporation, if you're a manager, I implore you, pay attention to what we're talking about here, because you have to understand you need all 7 of these people that are strong in all 7 of these different giftings in your staff, in your organization, so that you can operate more efficiently and you will get more done. Because when people are operating in their gifting, they are going to be energized and they're going to be motivated. Where money won't motivate them beyond a certain point, when they're doing something they feel like they're accomplishing something, then they will be motivated to work, and they'll be motivated to produce, and they'll be motivated to help and work together, and not expect something from someone that they can't do, because they understand, okay, that person doesn't have that gifting. I've got that gifting. They don't. I'll do what I'm designed to do. They'll do what they're designed to do, and then we come together and we work in unity. We work in harmony. Not that there won't be conflicts, because there's still the pros and cons of each one. So sometimes we'll work in the drawbacks of each one. We'll be operating those because we just seem to default to those things. But the thing is you can then understand where you are. You can catch yourself and say, oh, I've got to watch that. That's something I have to guard against, because that's one of the drawbacks of my gifting. But then the strengths of the gifting are so beneficial to you and to your organizations that it's going to be just strategic to understand this information. So I look forward to seeing you in the next 7 videos. I hope you get something. I don't have to hope. I know you're going to get something from this that's going to change your life. Tell people about it. As you're going through this and it's affecting you, tell your friends about it. Send them the link to subscribe. Send them the link to take the assessment and then subscribe to the course, because I believe it's going to change. The more we know about ourselves, the more everyone knows about themselves, the more helpful it's going to be in our society, and the less we're going to disagree about things, the less we're going to expect people to come in line with our way of thinking, because we're going to say that's just not who they are. So that being said, I look forward to seeing you in the next 7 videos, and just hang on, and we're going to go on a good ride. It's going to be a fun ride. Thanks.